Hey everybody, it's Jim from Jim's Holiest Coleus, and I'm just going to do a video on some practical everyday pointers for people. This goes for mostly people who are in the winter zones, like I'm in New Jersey. We have some decisions to make, and one decision I make at the end of or towards the end of the growing season, which we're not quite there yet, but I like to stay ahead, is what plants, what Coleus planters am I going to try to keep and overwinter for the season. Now this is just an example of some of the big planters on my property, and I'm just going to do a few tips on maintaining your Coleus to get them nice and big like this, keep them nice and happy and healthy, and what I do to keep them that way, and also show you a few of the Coleus planters that I decided to keep that I want to attempt to overwinter in my house in front of my bay window, which gets lots of light, which is perfect for maintaining Coleus. So now this Coleus, as beautiful as it is not one of the candidates. This is just a mixture of different Coleus, but it is a big Coleus, and I have plenty of seeds, so I don't really need to keep it. So this one is going to stay until the frost kills it. So let's go over and take a look at some of the Coleuses that I decided to keep. Here's another, before we get to that, here's another monster Coleus, and again I just keep trimming these. I have a couple of seed stalks. I just keep trimming it, make sure I get plenty of water when it needs it. These get a good amount of sun and shade, so I know when it needs water. I usually water it twice a day, and the pot has plenty of drainage holes, so I don't have to worry about root rot. I'm not over watering it. I just keep those seed pods cut, keep trimming it, don't let it grow too high. But this is just an example of a couple. These two were examples of some of my property. So let's take a look at some of the ones that I decided to keep. Here's a nice combo, a Lord Baltimore, and I'm not really sure what species this deep Burgundy is. I don't have any seeds of this, so I'm gonna keep this going and get the seeds from it, then trim it down really even more and bring it indoors. And here's one of my favorites. This plant is 3 years old. I've done a few videos on it. I've gotten plenty of rootings, and I've sold the little plants, but again, this is going on 3 years. This is a 3-year-old plant, black stockings, and for 3 years I've still yet to get any seed stalks to develop. And at this stage I don't see any evidence of any seed stalks coming in, so we're going to keep this trimmed up, and this will be brought indoors on a rack next to my bay window. And if you look at some of my older videos, this didn't look very good last year, but it was still alive, and that's what counts. As long as it's alive, keep it watered, not too much, give it as much light in the winter as you can. It'll survive till spring and summer, and here we are. We have a nice strong plant. And as the Coleuses get older, you'll notice that the stems get like tree trunks, so they get pretty heavy. Here's another Coleus. This is a Defiance Coleus, and this is a beautiful plant. And this one I'm going to keep indoors. I got plenty of seed stalks, but it's such a beautiful plant that I'm going to keep it indoors. I'm going to try to overwinter it. I'm not sure how it'll do, but it seems like a really nice plant. Let's go around the other side. And I'll show you a couple other my larger planters that that these, again, these are ornamental. These are just huge concrete planters, and I just finished trimming a bunch of these, but these die off every year, and I just replant Coleus next year. I just move these over just for purposes of trimming. Again, I go through, I have a lot of seed stalks here because I really like this particular Coleus. I don't have any seeds from this, so I have a few, but I trimmed a lot of it. It still needs some trimming, but it's a big, magnificent plant. And as you can see, it doesn't matter. You can cut here. You can cut whole stems or leaves. You can go around, sculpt your plant. It's not going to kill it. Like a leaf like that, you can cut the leaf right anywhere. It's not going to kill your Coleus at this point. This is so large. And again, is all my trimmings. This is a Lord Baltimore, and this started out as a single plant, a single stem, and it's this huge planter now. I just trimmed a whole bunch, so I'm going to keep this indoors. I'm going to overwinter this also because it's a beautiful plant. So I just compacted it around, trimmed it down. That'll make sure, keep it nice and clean and ready to be brought indoors in October or so. As you can see, I cut a whole bunch off. There's a whole stem. You can root that. You can just trim all that growth off the bottom and just throw it in some water and stem and just root it. Maybe I'll do that. So basically these are the candidates here. These three. There's a Lord Baltimore we'll keep, and this one here also I didn't get any seed stalks out of. I was surprised. I figured this one would definitely seed, but it didn't. And at this point, August, late August, if it hasn't seeded, at least got some seeds, pods coming in. I don't believe it's going to. So we'll keep it over. Again, this is the Defiance Coleus. And I just put it into a bigger pot. I filled it with Miracle Grow. Same thing with the Lord Baltimore. I had it in a smaller pot. Let me show you that. Go around the side here. I had it in a smaller pot. And I just got some Miracle Grow potting mix. And I basically, how you get a plant out of a pot like this here, you just bang it circular gently around the side. It'll pop right out. There should be a big root ball. And we'll just put a little soil at the base of this. We'll put it right in the center and then fill around the sides, gently shaking and filling the whole thing. And now we got it into a bigger pot, all ready to go for the season, for the winter. Another important tip is when you have your Coleuses through your season, make sure you get all the organic debris, any dead leaves or sticks, twigs, anything that doesn't supposed to be, that don't belong, nothing but growing Coleus. You want to get all your debris, organic debris that's dead, out of your soil, because it can, you know, promote to disease and so forth. It just, you don't need it. We're not composting. We're not using dead leaves to compost for nutrition. We use Miracle Grow fertilizer. Again, I give these the green Miracle Grow soluble, the water soluble Miracle Grow, the green box, the regular plant food mixed in with 2-gallon water, and I give that every couple of weeks. Even though Coleus don't really need a lot of fertilizer, I find it makes a big difference on getting these jumbo, getting your Coleus huge like this. And again, I just trimmed this and I moved these planters around, and I move them from side to side on my deck. So I really gave this a good trimming, as you can see. I gave it a good trimming. Even up top here, you can grow, you can trim. You can cut a big piece like this, just for example. You can cut this big piece right here, right off, right here in the stem. It's not going to kill your Coleus. Just keep trimming. See how this is kind of hanging down from the weight of it? You can trim that, keep it nice and compact. But it's your Coleus, you do what you want. And again, I move these planters from one side to the other. And again, these I'll keep until frost, until they die off. I take all the debris out and I cover these up every winter in heavy plastic trash bags. I seal them up and they stay on either side of my deck for next year. And at this point, looking ahead, I'm excuse me, already thinking of what kind of Coleus to put in here next year. I have a few ideas and some rootings of this Defiance Coleus is definitely on the top. This year I didn't put any Kong. There's a couple of variations, but I didn't put any Jumbo Kong in, which I'm sorry I didn't, because that's really my favorite. And the past 2 seasons I put some Kong Coleus in here, these Jumbo Kongs, and they really filled out nice. They look beautiful. So I didn't do it this year, I'm sorry, but next year I will again. So I've got a couple of my planters on my deck, on my patio table, and a Boston Fern. Little note on Boston Fern, I just brought this out. It's an indoor plant. I keep it out once in a while, give it some water. They like to be listed. Boston Ferns are great plants because they're not poisonous to cats, and also these are probably the best plant to keep your indoor air clean. These naturally scrub your air in your home. So if you get if you have the room, fill your house up with Boston Ferns, and you'll have that'll be like built-in HEPA filter. These really clean the air. So I keep these in my house. Again, I just brought it out. I give it a little water and mist it, and it's humid out. Give it a little sun, and then I bring it back indoors. So there you have it. There's a couple of tips keeping your Coleus for the people, followers out there that are in winter zones like New Jersey and so forth. You got to start thinking of what you're going to do for next year. If you got some seeds, then you're all set for next year. You can start following Jim's holiest Coleus, and when we start the seed for 2019. Again, here's our black stockings. I was really hoping that I'd get some seeds out of this year. I really thought I was going to, but it just doesn't want a seed for some reason. But it's a really neat, unusual Coleus. I love that black and green contrast. It's really a striking Coleus. There we are. We got the bees pollinating. Again, there's some seed stalks. Let those bees pollinate those lavender petals. They'll eventually die off. There's a seed stalk that's ready to come off. Pretty much has a few lavender petals, but you can see those seeds. You can see the seeds, like little cradles, little dark pods. Those are your seeds. Again, I have some videos, and I'll post some videos when we start collecting seeds. I hope this video helps you out. Don't worry, don't be afraid to trim. Keep cutting your Coleus. It's not going to die. It's going to help it out. It's a necessary evil. And pass along my YouTube channel. I'm well over 600 members worldwide. I'm humbled. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your summer. Labor Day's right around the corner. And we'll start getting busy with school and getting ready to say goodbye to the Coleus season of 2018, which means 2019 is waiting in the wings. Okay, everybody, have a great Labor Day weekend, and we'll see you soon.